I think that every city needs to be planned like what we are saying here. In 2018, the system actually collapsed.
How did you overcome the barriers of a lack of government subsidies?
We diversified our operations. We designed innovative products for companies that gives us consistent revenue. And that is what has been able to sustain us. All the three major airports, Accra, Kumasi, Tamale, they are all using our buses. At the University of Cape Coast campus, we've built a whole shuttle service within the campus, shuttling students from one lecture hall to the other. The Urban Mobility Fund will actually now be used to fund both infrastructure and the services across the country. And it's a beautiful product we've designed. Once we have dedicated funding, we can actually even leverage it with AFD and other people to give us loans or grants that will help us build the needed infrastructure to support the service.
What kind of support or services might you need from the private sector, from other government stakeholders, from consultants or from UITP? What would help you to do that job over the next 12 months? So good to see you.
Good to see you.
We met last year in Casablanca at the UITP, where the focus was on BRTs, and you joined our advisory board, so thanks so much. We've had some great conversations since then, and you've really helped us to learn more about some of the challenges and opportunities of public transport and electric vehicles from an operator and authority perspective. And then here we are today at the UITP Summit in Hamburg. So
beautiful.
Great to be seeing you again. I guess firstly, what brings you here to the summit?
Thanks to UITP and the Global Gateway, we are sponsored to be here to share some experiences in what we've been doing in Accra for the past years, the successes, the difficulties, opportunities, challenges, and all. So we are here to share our perspectives with the world and also learn from best practices, because if you look at the setup, everybody who matters in the public transportation space is here. And the lessons we are learning, the experiences and everything is just unmatched.
And it seems like Hamburg is just one of the best cities in the world from a transport perspective.
Beautiful, beautiful. The aesthetics, everything, I'm just loving it.
Have you had a chance to try any of the transport?
Yes, I've been on the train. I've been on their U-line, S-lines. I've been in the bars. I've taken the scooter. Yeah, I've ridden bicycle. The green.
Oh, the green one.
The green one.
Yeah.
And I took a bicycle ride also. I mean, I'm experiencing the city.
Yeah.
And it's great.
It just makes everything so much more connected and accessible, isn't it? To be able to, I walked to the venue today. I got the train yesterday. I almost took a scooter. I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
It just seems like, the accessibility and the freedom of the city is enhanced.
It's beautiful. And even the way the city is planned. Look, I think that every city needs to be planned like what we are saying here, because there is no chaos. The city is breathing, and I just love it. And I love the fact that the people also take great pride in respecting the traffic rules. At the intersections, at the traffic lights, trust me, everybody waits patiently until their turn.
This is very unique, isn't it?
I've been taking shots, I've been recording that, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm asking myself, how do we get to a point in Africa where people will wait patiently for the traffic to turn green before they walk past? It's beautiful, but I wish that we could learn how the people embraces this kind of concept and how they adhere to those strict and conforms to the plan as already set. That is beautiful.
Yeah, and we're all here at UITP Summit because we have an interest in advancing public transport, in improving how we move people and goods. And you've been introducing different initiatives over the last few years. What have been some of the wins from the work that you're doing at GAPTE? We'll start with the wins, and then it would be good to explore some of the challenges. How do we overcome them, and what's next? So,
okay, I can only share my views as the immediate past head of GAPTE, because clearly I'm moving to a different position now, and it gives me a much wider opportunity to actually serve the country as a whole. GAPTE was meant for the city of Accra, but now we have an opportunity to work across the country. So that's a good upgrade for me. But during my stewardship at GAPTE, we came up with a lot of concepts that is being piloted and being implemented in different kind of ways. One, if you look at the transport sector, the Ayalolo services that the government launched in 2016, it suffered a lot of challenges in terms of government subsidies and support financially, because you know that all over the world, you cannot run public transports like the Ayalolo services without government subsidizing it one way or the other. But unfortunately for us, we had to do a full cost recovery.
Oh, wow.
So it suffered a little challenge between 2016 and 2018.
What is the full cost recovery? Does that mean no government funding, so you had to...
No government funding at all, but you have to now run the entire operations and run the entire systems from the internally generated funds.
And to put that into context, a lot of the messaging over the last 24 hours here has been around public transport subsidies needing to be between 30 and 50%,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Or rather, that's from fare revenue, and I think it would be 50 to 80% from government funding.
Yes. So, but in Ghana now, the Ayalolo services are being run 100% from fare revenues. And even we are still using part of that revenue to support GAPTE, that is the regulatory institution. Its operational cost is also borne on that, so it makes it unsustainable. So in 2018, the system actually collapsed. Then, together with my then chief executive, Mr. Samson Dramra, we came up with a strategy to be less dependent on government, but do a full cost recovery program. And from 2019 till today, that is what has really pushed everything to the level as it is now. But we still believe that it is not sustainable because, yes, we are able to take care of part of the operational cost, but the opportunity cost of not doing other things that if you had money you could have done is delaying a lot of the gains that we are supposed to get. So now we've come up with a concept where we are proposing to government that we need to set up an urban mobility fund. And we've shown two clear ways that we can create a funding scheme to generate money to actually fund major projects when it comes to public
Before we get into the fund, if we take a step back in terms of how it's currently being funded, how did you structure that and how did you overcome the barriers of a lack of government subsidies?
So one, we changed the operational method. Initially, we were running a scheduled service, and that scheduled service were not working properly because during the peak time, yes, you get your numbers. But you see, the way the city of Accra is designed, we all move to the city south in the morning, and we all move to the north in the evening. Because of the sea, the city moves directional. So in the morning, everybody is rushing into the city center. In the evening, everybody is going. So in between peaks, you have a problem. Then, even during peak time, you have your load factor right in the rush hour direction, but in your return, you have empty buses. So the cost of running a trip, a complete trip, the revenues you generate do not fund the trip if you are doing a full schedule service. So what we did was that we changed the concept a little bit. We run scheduled service during the peak hours, and then in between peaks, we actually wait to get our seating capacity full before the bus moves. So at least once you get your seats full, you know that at least you can get your break-even revenue, even if you don't get people standing on the way. Then when we get to the other end, we also make sure that we get the seats full before we move. That is in between peaks. So that operational strategy actually helped us reduce the cost burden we were having on the operations. And now we were able to generate more revenue to be able to meet up the cost. That is one. Then the second thing we did was that we also deployed some of the buses for a full commercial operations. So for example, at the airport, on the tarmac, in other cities, they use a cool bus to transport people from the terminal to the airplane. But in our case, we were able to lobby the aviation handling companies to get rid of their buses, and then we give them the Ayalolo buses.
Yeah.
So what they do is that we give them the buses. We are in charge of insurance and roadworthiness, and then maintenance of the buses, and then the drivers, those are our responsibility. They are responsible for fueling the bus and scheduling it. So that alone also gives us even much greater revenue because we give them the buses, we make sure the buses are properly maintained and everything. We pay the drivers well so that they do the service. All that they need to do is fuel the buses. So they now realize that it's actually more cost savings for them to take the buses from us, because now they save on the capex of buying new buses, insurance, roadworthiness, and even paying drivers.
Wow.
When the driver is sick, it's on them. When the driver is indisposed, but for us, if a driver is sick, we have to replace him. So they realized that they made their operations more easier.
Yeah.
So initially we had just one of the handling companies. Today, all the companies, all the three major airports, Accra, Kumasi, Tamale, they are all using our buses.
Wow.
So by deploying that was one gain. Then we strategically also gave some of the buses to companies that do staff shuttling. So again, like the Ghana Airport Company Limited, we've given them buses to pick their staff from home to work.
And when you say giving them buses, do they have the buses now 24/7 or?
Yeah, 24/7. We've dedicated buses for them.
Yeah.
So they've offloaded the buses. We are in charge of maintenance, fueling. In fact, for that staff shuttle service, we are in charge of fueling, maintenance, cleaning of the buses, paying the everything. It's us. All that they need to pay us is pay the agreed contract fees.
Yeah, so full service.
Exactly, and that is an assured revenue you are getting in a month. So those concepts, we diversified our operations to make sure that we brought in we design innovative products for companies that gives us consistent revenue, and that is what has been able to sustain us. So now we are actually selling this idea to companies that shuttle their staff. That your business is not to think about fuel for your bus or spare parts or anything. Your business is to do what you are called mandated to do.
Yeah.
Leave the bus operations for us. We are experts in it. And now we are getting a lot of people taking our buses. We are dealing with schools. We are building university shuttle services. At the University of Cape Coast campus, we've built a whole shuttle service within the campus, shuttling students from one lecture hall to the other. Initially, it used to be different trotro vehicles sprinkling the campuses, creating a lot of noise. But today, all the bus services is Ayalolo. And because of that, other universities are now coming, also asking for the buses to be deployed within their campuses. So these now become specialized products we've designed with consistent revenues coming into the pool, and that is what has helped us.
So that foundation that you've built now and the experiences that have come along with those different projects, is that leading into this new mobility fund that you speak of? And what is the new mobility fund?
Yeah, the Urban Mobility Fund will actually now be used to actually fund both infrastructure and the services across the country. And it's a beautiful product we've designed. We are still talking to government to approve it for us. And I may not want to go into the details, but trust me, that will actually create the turnaround that we are looking for. Because once we have dedicated funding, we can actually even leverage it with AFD and other people to give us loans or grants that will help us build the needed infrastructure to support the service.
Brilliant. You've got the evidence of what you've done with GAPTE.
Yes.
And now you mentioned a new role that you'll be taking, and
Yes.
I think that's to address some of the challenges that you've identified over the years. So what's that new role? What will that be looking to overcome, and how might that impacts the urban mobility fund development?
Well, the new role actually gives us the opportunity to tackle things at the national levels. Because one of the major problems we have in Ghana is the institutional arrangement. Policy formulation, policy implementation, there is no direct linkage. So whilst the Ministry of Transport is developing policies for public transportation, they don't have the structures to implement those policies across their sectors. So they are developing policy for rail, developing policies for road, developing policies for air transport and water transport and everything. But each of these policies, there are different agencies that picks the policy and implement it. So for example, when it comes to the aviation policies that the Ministry of Transport is developing, we have the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority and the Ghana Airport Company that takes that policy and implement it within the aviation space. If you talk about the freight policies, we have the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority, Ghana Shippers Authority, and other authorities that are dealing with it. All these agencies are under Ministry of Transport. When it comes to road policies, it is developed by the Ministry of Transport, but it has to be implemented at the MMDA level, the Metropolitan, Municipal and District Assembly level, which is under the Ministry of Local Government. So all the policies that are enacted at the Ministry of Transport in regards to road are not being implemented at the assembly level because there is no defined institutional arrangement at the local level to implement that. So for example, in our local governance system, every metropolitan and municipal assembly is supposed to have a transport department that picks this policy at the Ministry of Transport level and implement it. That transport department do not exist.
I see.
So there is no structure to implement the policies that have been formulated at the Ministry of Transport in terms of the road sector. That is how GAPTE is created for the city of Accra.
I see.
So GAPTE picks this policy and then redevelop it and break it down for the MMDAs within the Greater Accra metropolitan area. But in Accra alone, we have 27 assemblies. Each of them is supposed to have their own transport department.
Which doesn't sound very feasible.
Right now, only 6 of them have the transport department properly set up. The rest don't have, in fact, 6 of them have the department. The rest 8 have focal persons. The rest don't have it at all. You understand?
Yeah.
So there is no clear correlation between the policies that are developed and implementation. GAPTE attempted, we are doing well in Accra, but what about Kumasi, what about Takrady, what about Tamale? That sync is not there. So now we need to have an agency under the Ministry of Local Government at the national level that picks the policy for road transport, creates the transport department at the MMDA level, creates the regional authorities. Then this new institution works with the regional authorities and then it goes to the local level. So that the policies as formulated by Ministry of Transport, this new institution takes it, create the 16 regional authorities. Then through the authorities, we create the transport department at the assemblies, build their capacities, then they can begin to implement the road policies.
Well, you need transport departments within each...
Every MMDA has to have their own transport department to plan, regulate, and enforce public transport activities within their locality.
Yeah.
Then when you come to the regional level, where there are cross-jurisdictional aspects, the regional authority takes over.
So what would be some of the... We imagine that's set up, say, in 12 months, for example. It's working now. What are some of the projects you think will come out of that? Are we going to see increased number of buses? Are we going to see new forms of mobility rolling?
The most important thing that will happen is that now, because the public transport space is not regulated, you are going to have a more structured way of regulating the operators who are there now. So now you are going to create conformity and bring everybody to book. So there are people who are currently operating public transport without registering with any assembly at all. In fact, they don't even have any terminal they are working from. They are just moving. That's a problem. So once these things are done, we formalize the space, put everybody into the grouping they belong to. That is the first step. Then the second step is that once you have now identified operators who can do the job, it means that you have now formalized them. And through that, whatever support you can grant them, you know that through that formalization process, even if you have to take loans to buy buses and on-lend it to them, you know that through that formal processes, they can pay back. And then we can now institute what we call a national transportation payment system that will revolutionize everything. In fact, that's going to be a game changer. Yeah.
Fantastic. Sounds really exciting. And as you speak, obviously, it sounds simplified. I know it's not. There'll be some challenges along the way. So what kind of support or services might you need from the private sector, from other government stakeholders, from consultants, or from UITP? What would help you to do that job over the next 12 months?
It's a lot of things because, one, now we need to build capacity. Capacity building is number one on the agenda. So we will just have to work with institutions that can help us build capacities of the people we are going to recruit into the sector. Then also get the right technologies that will help us with the planning and the regulation processes, and also get the right infrastructural support for the services, including if we have to build new roads, we have to design new roads, if we have to buy new buses, if we have to build rail systems, whatever it is, getting reliable partners that can help us achieve this, it's going to be the main goal. But the immediate need will be how we can build capacities of people that we can bring to the space who would have the knowledge that is required to lead the planning and the execution process. Once we are able to get that, the rest, everything will just go smoothly.
And I see here at UITP Summit, there's more sessions on AI, artificial intelligence, and the last 12 months, 24 months, it feels like AI has become a whole new world that many weren't operating in. How do you see AI playing a role in some of the developments that you're making?
Yeah, because, AI is beginning to change the dynamics in almost every space. And for us, I think it will only help us speed up the process of getting things done. I've seen a lot of technologies being showcased in this summit. And we believe that once we can get the right partners with the right know-how, using AI, we can achieve a lot more faster. But you see, there are dynamics that we need to take into perspective. The cultural setup of the people in the areas we are coming from, how they are built up and how they understand some of these things. Well, I believe that if we can use AI to change the narrative for us to deploy strategies that solve specific problems. Like, for example, I was telling you, over here, when the traffic is red, even animals stop. But in my area, when it is red, that is when somebody is running to cross the traffic.
I have to admit, I ran across the road this morning and then I remembered I'm in Germany. Because I'm so used to, you see a space, you run.
Exactly.
And everybody will look at you funny here.
Yeah, but you see, that is what makes systems
and you get arrested as well. You get fined.
Exactly. Yeah. So maybe we could use that to understand how the people behave, and then we can deploy systems that help solve that problem.
Yeah.
Because once people begin to conform, we are good to go.
Yeah. So you believe that AI could play a role in accelerating your work?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Great. All right. Thanks, Charles.
Hey.
I think that's it from my side. Any more questions?
Well, I'm happy about what you've also been doing in the African settings and the role you are playing. Advocacy, bringing people together, letting people share their experience. The last session we had, the webinar, I got a lot of messages coming in through LinkedIn, how people appreciated the knowledge that we shared. So for me, bringing all of us together for us to share our perspective is also something I cherish. So you are doing a good job.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think back to your point on capacity building, inspiration, engagement, learning. It's why we're all here today at UITP Summit, and we definitely are doing our best in Africa with Smarty Mobility Africa, and we'll keep doing as much as keep doing much more really, because I just feel like we're only scratching the surface. Transport is an exciting time in its history. Technology advancements, but also just the experience and know-how, even for example that you've acquired over the last 5 to 10 years that you were sharing with us, now prepares you for the next stage with things like the Urban Mobility Fund. Great. Thanks, Charles.
Thanks for always putting me on.
You're
I'm
welcome.
grateful.
Thank you.